Well, hello everyone. It's Jennifer Hughes of Mom Champ. I'm here with my friend Pari. We are going to be talking about a success principle, Pay Yourself First, from the book by Jack Canfield, The Success Principles. So we're both trainers together and we're going to be talking about that today. So Pari, how are you?
Really well. Happy New Year, my friend.
Thank
It's
you.
2021. Finally, we made it.
You made it. Well, I always love talking to you. Thank you for being here. So tell me
Likewise.
tell me about Pay Yourself First. Why is it
Yeah.
important and why should we be doing it? And what does it exactly mean?
Right. I mean, the beginning of a new year is a great time to be thinking about financials in our lives and paying ourselves first. And, a lot of people spend their monies on, things they need, right? Rent and food and stuff for the children and health insurance and all of that. And they forget that they have to give themselves money first. And what that usually means is saving up, keeping something aside for you and your family, and not giving it to Target and Wegmans and whatever your supermarket is. And it's like it's some of it that you just keep for yourself. And a lot of people feel like they can't afford to save. And I always say it's the opposite. You cannot afford not to save. You have to, pay yourself, and keep yourself as the first person you pay. It's almost like in the all of the invoices that you get on all the bills that you get in your mailbox and on your computer. You have to have the mindset that the very first one and the most important one is you. Pay that one first, and then pay all the rest of them. Save first, then pay all of the rest of your bills. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
Okay.
Save.
Save money. Okay. So what about the people who would say, "Oh, I can't do that. I don't have enough money. It's paycheck to paycheck." How would you respond to that?
Yeah, and I mean, and that's like a lot of us, right? Especially in with this last year that we've had. I mean, it's like it's kind of hard to even imagine saving when you're thinking about just paying all of the bills. But it's a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're thinking that um, all of these other things are more important, and you're kind of coming from the mindset of I have to whatever I earn, I spend on living, then you're kind of stuck in that rut of earning and spending. And you're always dependent on being able to earn in order to live. What wealthy people do is a part of whatever they earn, they keep aside and invest. So save, first step, save. Second step is, once you've built up enough to save, that you've saved, invest it so that it earns its own money. So the whole concept of compound interest, which I'm happy to expand on, but is the concept of your money starts earning for it, earning for you. So instead of you earning the money earns itself, by the concept of compound interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to be exerting as much effort. So it helps you when you start thinking of it as this is an investment in me versus like this is a sacrifice, then you can see how it's going to help you and your family in the future. So it again is it's education in the way we've been brought up in, especially in the United States, with all of this credit easily available to us, that it's better to kind of live off of your credit cards, or there's um, it's a society where they encourage that, and so it's a different mindset, um, in order to invest in yourself. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, and I
Kind of.
think investing in yourself is also a mindset that people need to start thinking about,
Yeah.
because you're the only one who has the ability to be happy and healthy and make more money, and like it has to start here. So
Right. And also while you can, right? Because there will come a time when you'll retire and you won't be able to. And so you want to, again, that's the whole point of investing in yourself, is it's still going to be you 30 years from now, which needs the money. And so So start thinking about that now. And the sooner you start saving up and investing, the less you have um, to worry in your retirement. So this concept of financial freedom, we all kind of have that on our vision boards, right? Financial freedom, out of debt. Um, I can buy whatever I want whenever I want. I don't have to earn money, right? I don't have to work, or I work because I want to, not because I have to. That's financial freedom. At least that's my definition of financial freedom, right?
Sounds wonderful.
Right. But the magic of compound interest, if you think about it, is if you invested, if I told you that you could have $1 million if you sacrificed one fancy meal a week, would you do that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And that's what most people will say, but they say, but that can't be true. And it is true. Most of the millionaires in this world are people who have consciously saved money and invested it. It's as simple as that. They weren't, most 99% of the millionaires weren't born. They weren't born in money or they didn't inherit money. They made their millions. These are, the people in the laundry mart that you go to, or the Chinese store that you go to. It's those people who have made their millions just by saving up. And so I want to just kind of complete that thought of the one fancy meal, right? $30, $40. If you can save $30 or $40 a week, and you just put that aside, invested it, didn't think about it, didn't touch it, in 50 years, that would be $1 million at 8% interest rate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and there's plenty of these interest calculator websites. I encourage people to go play with it, have fun,
Right.
because you can see how that can multiply. Yeah.
True. Well, and you could look at it like a fancy coffee every morning instead of a fancy meal. That would kind of add up to about the same cost, right?
It really does. And when you think of it like that, it's like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could make that at home, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And Albert Einstein said compound interest is the eighth natural wonder of the world.
Yeah. Well, what would you say to the people who say interest is no longer a thing? We're not getting paid interest anymore. It's not compounding. And first of all, tell us what it is if people aren't familiar with it. And then what do you say to the people who say it's no longer a real thing?
Well, I'll start, but let me start with explaining it, like you said. All right. So compound interest is basically you take a certain amount of money, you invest it, it earns interest. That interest builds on. So the money you put in is your principal. Then you earn interest on it, and then that interest becomes part of your kitty in a sense. And then you have a bigger amount, and then you continue to invest that, and it becomes bigger and becomes. So it's basically you put in one amount, but it keeps growing because it keeps earning interest. The key with that is not to touch it. You can't take it out. If you take it out, then you've lost all of that interest, right? So you just have to invest it in a a bond or a stock, or and I won't go into investment strategies, but I will tell you, last year in 2020, the stock market went up 12% overall in the year, right?
Wow.
So the calculation I just gave you was 8%.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's totally possible, even in a 2020 year. Now, of course, there's years that it's up and there's years that it's down. So when you invest, you're investing over long periods of time, right?
Right.
And of course, you need to have an investment advisor. I'm not that right now. My husband is. He's the one who gets me the 8% interest rate. But I'm just saying that it's and that's the concept of compound interest. And I'll share a little example just to kind of make it more real. So I did this math when I turned 40 years old. I said I'm going to put aside $100 a week in my retirement account.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started looking at what would that be, and how would that kind of compound at using 8% as the interest rate. which of course is always fluctuating, but just using one number just to kind of get a gauge. And I calculated that if I continue to do that, starting at 40, if I continue to do that for the next 35 years until I'm 75, I would have $1 million if I just saved $100 a week.
Yeah. And you're
But
talking
the fun
saving
part of that is,
or investing so that you get that compound interest, right?
so saving $100 and putting it in the, keep adding to it.
Right.
But what the interesting thing about that is that, 35 years of putting away $100 a week comes to about 180,000. That is the principal, the amount that I put in.
Mm-hmm.
And that 820,000 is interest.
That's amazing.
That's compound interest. That's so it just it's the gift of not touching that money.
Mm-hmm. Right.
For those 35 years.
So yeah, and I think you touched on the key point here is banks used to give interest rates, and so now they don't do that anymore. You have to go to the stock market or mutual funds, or you have to invest it wisely, keep it there, and then you'll earn over a long period of time. You'll earn 8 to 12% or hopefully more.
You can. I mean, there will be years that you could earn 30, and then there will be years that you'll lose 10, right? So over a period of time, it will all even out. Yeah, definitely not banks. I should have said that. Yeah, that's 1 and 2% if you're lucky.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just take it. As soon as you get paid, you just take it and put it aside for your future, right? Investing.
That's what I think Jack, or maybe he was quoting somebody else, but he says that's how you become an automatic millionaire.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key, is that you just if you have a paycheck, you just ask for your HR, in HR, you can kind of just ask them to take a certain percentage and invest it, or or take it out and put it in your investment account. They can just do it automatically. So you don't even have to think about it. It's never part of your take home in the first place. And so you don't, it's always saved. Or if you have your own business, you do that as an automatic payment. You set it up.
Right.
So it's not something you have to physically do each week or each month.
Yeah.
It just happens. So like my $100 just goes every week.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't itch as much because it's not $400 a month going out, or it's not, 5,200 in the year going out. That feels like a lot of money. Right. But the 100 a week feels like it's just doing its thing.
Yeah. And the key is not to touch it, right? Like when you're paying, Social Security comes out right away from your paycheck. You don't get access to that money. It's just gone. So you just need to think of it like that. It's just gone. I don't have access. You don't ever touch it. You don't say, oh, well, there's an emergency. I really need a new car. Like, you just don't touch it. Like, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And you want to put it even in investment structures that don't let you take it out for a while. That makes it even easier for you not to touch it, in a sense,
Yeah. Well,
I know you always like. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was saying we always talk a little bit about children and young people whenever we have our conversations about the success principles, because of the work you do, right, with the younger people.
Yes.
And this one, I wanted to make sure we did touch upon it, because the younger you start, the easier it is to make that million. We're going to go with $1 million just because it's a fun number. But the sooner you start, the less you have to invest. So for example, I did this with my daughter when she turned 16. We said, off your allowance, $15 goes towards, did we say 15? I think we said 15. $15 goes towards your retirement account. Like, she has her own retirement account. It helps to have an investment husband, but so that just goes automatically out of her allowance money. So she gets $15 less, right? And we said, I kind of showed her the magic of compounding when she turned 16. I said, you know what that would mean if you just did that for the rest of your life, even when you were older and you were earning your money, if you never increased the amount, you only just kept giving $15, you would be a millionaire at 60.
That's crazy.
for $15 a
Right,
week.
right. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
And
and I think there was something like 4 or 5% of the $1 million, was actually her investment.
right,
95% of it was interest rate, the
right.
interest that she earned. So
Yeah.
of course
Well,
it means she doesn't touch it until she's 60, but that's an easy $1 million.
true. And hopefully she would get to the point where she's making more, when she's past 16 and say, well, maybe I can also do $100 a week, right?
Mhm,
So then
mhm,
it would
mhm.
definitely grow faster. So
Right. But we just gave her $1 million on her 16th birthday, in other
wow,
words.
that's amazing. I mean, now it makes me feel like, like a heel for giving my kids a bike.
Exactly.
So, well, that's great. I love that you're teaching that to your daughter because it's showing her the way to financial freedom,
Right,
for the rest of her life. So that's
right.
really amazing.
Yeah, that's
So,
exactly it.
what I know we're not going to get into how to invest, but just in general terms, do you like the stock market better, or like mutual funds or IRAs? What do you like better?
I'll tell you, that's not another secret. I'm basically giving you away my workshop, but it's fine. I love you. Um, the index market is where I would suggest you invest,
Okay.
because especially the US, and I'm talking about the US index market, the
Mhm.
index funds. If you just invest in the index, and the index is basically, so for example, you have the Vanguard index, or you have the Fortune 500 index, right? If you just invest in that, that index is basically a combination of 500 stocks, 500 companies that are doing the best in that field,
Mhm.
be it technology or be it health in health industry, whatever it may be. And so they're already doing the work for you, right? They're picking 500 of the best companies, and if you don't make that mark, you're off the 500 list, and somebody else who's doing better gets on the list. So you're always investing in this basket of 500, for example, of the best earning, profit making companies in the US. So if you invest in just the indexes, you don't need a broker. You don't need an investment advisor. The problem with mutual funds is that you have a broker behind there who is also earning money each time you earn money,
Right.
right? You eliminate that person.
Mhm.
And the thing is with mutual funds is these brokers, have good years and bad years, and sometimes they may make more than the index, and sometimes they'll make less. But actually, most of the time, they don't do as well as the index does.
Mhm.
So you have maybe a 5% chance of earning more than the index, but a 95% chance of doing less. So it's actually better to just, that's what I would suggest.
Yeah.
Easy, simple, and you know that you will, at least living in the United States, that you will, and given the current conditions, that you would actually be doing better than most mutual funds.
Excellent.
Um,
That's a great tip.
the IRA funds are interest. I mean, they're also mutual funds usually that they'll invest. If your company has a 401k plan, um, so they are mutual funds. There is a broker behind there. You are losing out money each time.
Mhm.
You are dependent on their stock picks and all of that. But if your company is giving you like a match of any sort,
Mhm.
if you invest this much, we'll also give you a certain amount, then take it,
Yeah.
because it's free money.
Always take free money.
Exactly. Go for it.
That's such good tips.
Invest, I mean, at least up till the match,
Yeah,
invest at least as much as they match.
definitely. Definitely. Such good tips. I love that. And I really appreciate you coming on. Is there any final tip you want to give before we close out?
Just, I think the main, to sum it up, right, is put away money every week, month, however you want to do it. Weeks are easier. Or like you said, every day with that coffee,
Yeah.
you know, put away money in a retirement account, automate it so that you don't have to think about it, and don't touch it until you retire.
Perfect. That was a great summary. I love that. Um, okay, well, thank you so much for being here. My friends, if
Always a
you want to
pleasure.
if you want to get in touch with Pari, you can just click on her name. It'll take you right to her Facebook page, and she's running some financial workshops if you want to know more details about kind of how this is done. And I'm open for coaching if you want to get a free initial coaching. Like, let me know. I will do a free coaching call with you, and just click on my name. And
Fantastic that you do that.
yes. And also, we both love to answer your questions. If you have any, pop those into the comments below, and share this with a friend that you think could benefit from it. So that's all for today, and we will be back soon with another financial success principle for you. So thank you, Pari.
Until next time.
Yep, thanks everyone for being here.